Good morning, fellow Hoosiers. I stand here in front of a notorious symbol of the problems facing our state, our nation, and the 5th Congressional District. I stand here on behalf of 1,260 Hoosier men and women who should be working in this building behind me known as GTROG. It was designed to produce the most modern transmissions in the world, and more importantly, to drive the dreams of so many Hoosier families across the center of our state. Now, GTROG sits empty, tied up in court battles, while so many of our fellow Hoosiers are forced into unemployment lines in numbers that have not been seen in nearly 30 years. As a former UAW assembly line worker, I know the impact of locked factory gates. I know that if you cannot work, you cannot dream. And if you cannot dream, you cannot rise above your circumstances. Today, I offer myself to the people of the 5th Congressional District of Indiana to serve as your congressman, to help you achieve your dreams, to be your relentless advocate in a city far away where greed and arrogance are the status quo, and the name Tipton has not been heard in the capital since the 1830s. Many of the towns we love have been forgotten in Washington, from Bunker Hill to Bogstown, from Roanoke Station to Jackson Station. We people of the 5th District are desperate for a representative who puts someone first, like the people he represents. Someone who wakes up every morning asking, how can I best serve? I have the heart of a servant. I have spent most of my adult life working to make Indiana a better place to live and to raise a family. I learned from our two greatest public servants, Governor Robert Orr and Lieutenant Governor John Mutz, that government can do best by creating an environment in which the private sector can thrive. As a state legislator representing more than 60,000 people in this district, I have used my influence to clear away government roadblocks, to defend the constitutional rights of my neighbors, and to set market forces free. I am the only candidate in this race who has actually authored legislation that has produced private investment in the creation of new jobs. I authored the 2006 Telecommunications Deregulation Act, which was the most sweeping deregulation of telecom in the nation. In less than 3 years, there has been more than $1.5 billion in private investment, 2,500 new jobs created, and 4,000 to 6,000 jobs saved right here in Indiana. I am the only candidate in the race who has eliminated a tax for thousands of Hoosier families. The inheritance tax is the scourge of family farms and small business. I authored the language that eliminated the death tax for all Hoosier estates of $100,000 or less. I am the only candidate in the race who has authored significant energy legislation. Working with John Mutz, I created the Clean Coal Technology Center at Purdue University. There, researchers find ways to burn coal in environmentally safe ways, and they find markets for byproducts that will create thousands of jobs in this state. I also authored legislation to help new energy sources, like the giant wind farm that's being planned here in Tipton County, to connect to the power grid that serves all of our citizens. I am the only candidate in the race who has actually authored and passed a constitutional amendment. Article 5, Section 10 of the Indiana Constitution now provides for an orderly transition of government if, God forbid, we are struck a deadly blow by terrorist acts. I have worked to protect the lives of our women and children by working with Senator Jim Merritt and Carl Brizzi to bring justice to those who would attack our pregnant women, and by working with Murray Clark to enact bail reform that is recognized by prosecutors as a significant tool in domestic violence cases. As a member of the Veterans Affairs Committee, I have worked to improve the lives of the veterans who have served us so well. Most of this I have accomplished while as a member of the minority party, circumstances much like those I will face in Washington. Our current congressman, on the other hand, has failed us. He has served, but he has not led. He has voted many times the right way, but there is a great difference between voting and leadership. Anyone can push a button, but only a person with vision can lead. Our congressman has spent more time poking his nose into ethnic rivalries on other continents than he has creating opportunity here in the 5th District. He has enjoyed the gravy train in Washington for nearly 30 years. That train must now come to a screeching halt. We must assign a crew that will transform that gravy train into an engine of change, an engine that clears obstacles from the path to prosperity. When I serve you in Washington, I will help drive the economic engine for all citizens of the 5th District. I will vigorously defend my neighbors against a bloated federal bureaucracy that seems to think that the country can tax and regulate itself to prosperity. I will resurrect the 10th Amendment as a preeminent concept of our democracy. I will aggressively advocate for the military capability to defend our shores against all enemies and to kill terrorists where they hide. We cannot afford to fail in our mission. The future of our state and our nation depend on people willing to chart the future. A future that your children and my children, Brendan and Kevin, of whom I am so proud, will find great possibilities. For my friends who have been with me today, thank you. And for my friends who have stayed away because they are in fear of taking on an incumbent, let me say this: do not be afraid. John Witherspoon, the signer of the Declaration of Independence and a Presbyterian minister, said in 1776, "If your case is just, if your principles are pure, and if your conduct is prudent, you need not fear the multitude of opposing hosts." Our campaign is just, our principles are pure, and our conduct will be prudent. I have led, and I will lead. Today, together, we begin restoring the American dream. Thank you.